ladies and gentlemen, we have another long-time supporter of Unity for J, a very active participant in our vigils, and journalist Aaron Garrison from Berkeley, California, who has also gone above and beyond with reporting on the content of these vigils each week, both in print and in radio. And welcome to the stream.
Hi. I've been trying to get in to say a couple of things, so I'm not really in the inspirational final message mode. So please forgive me for that. I wish I could have shared these things before it became inspiration time, so I'll be brief. I have to correct myself about something I said on Twitter yesterday that got a big response. I said that, Sadiq Javid, his name is really hard to pronounce. I can pronounce all kinds of long, complicated African names, but for some reason, his name's really hard for me to pronounce. But anyway, whatever his name is, the UK.
He signed the extradition order, correct, for Julian?
Yeah, he signed the extradition order for Julian. And when Julian was dragged out of the embassy, he thanked Ecuador for finally resolving that situation, said Julian had broken the law. He was a managing director of Deutsche Bank from, I think it was 2000 to 2009. And I said on Twitter that there were 16,000 WikiLeaks about him. And what there actually is, there are 16,000 WikiLeaks about Deutsche Bank. And they're pretty good. There's one about him, it's kind of interesting. It says there's one of these other secretaries, he was probably the finance or some sort of financial secretary at that time. He said, well, they were going to sell the Royal Bank of Scotland. The Royal Bank of Scotland is a hybrid that I'm unfamiliar with, or it was. I'm not sure if they sold the 30% share, but it was a private-public partnership. 30% was owned by the British government. Deutsche Bank lost billions of dollars and got bailed out. The Royal Bank of Scotland lost more than anyone in Europe, so far as I can tell, and they got bailed out. And this other minister was saying, I'm going to take a political hit if we sell the bank or our interest in the bank for less than we spent bailing them out. And the UK Home Secretary said, oh no, that'll be good. That'll be good. And it'll help us pay off our debt. Well, they'd gone deeper into debt, bailing out the bank, and then they were going to sell it or their interest in it for less than they spent bailing it out. He thought that was a cool idea. But, you know, I said there's 16,000 WikiLeaks about the Home Minister. That's not true. There's 16,000 about Deutsche Bank. There are only a few people that have anything like that many WikiLeaks about them. Barack Obama has 95,000, but Theresa May only has 2,300 something. So I've corrected myself. I think everybody just got the general idea, but I don't like to make mistakes and not correct myself. Second, I've been thinking the problem with organizing for Julian is that his feat is intellectual. There aren't that many people who've read WikiLeaks or even come to understand what's at stake there. So I think that's something that we have to think about. Nozomi and I are both going to go talk on forums sometime soon. Also about being out here. We had a couple of demonstrations, but I didn't think they were too effective because we're so far away. We're halfway around the world. So we really need to help the people in London to do that in any way we could, in any way we can. one more, and this was Jeffrey St. Clair's joke on Twitter. He said that everyone who had used WikiLeaks in their work should file an amicus brief with the court saying that they had done the same thing that Julian had done, and were they going to prosecute everybody? I mean, that would take some courage. Maybe they would. Mm-hmm. I think he thought that was a joke, Jeffrey St. Clair, but I thought it was worth thinking about. And the last thing I wanted to say is about Burundi. I think you know that I take a great interest in the part of sub-Saharan Africa known as the African Great Lakes region. And I found invaluable information the other day, because the East-West conflict in Burundi, it's like the African Syria. And it's largely about this nickel mine. The Burundian government signed a contract with a Russian firm to mine it. However, by looking back in WikiLeaks about Burundi, I was able to find that a real dirtbag named Maurice Templestan, whom I've run into before, he was, for decades, trying to put together a Western consortium to mine this nickel. And since Burundi signed the contract with the Russian firm, suddenly the US and the other parts of the US decided that Burundi was unlawful in this and this and that, in every way, and the worst human rights abuser in Africa. They weaponized human rights. They tried to drag him into the ICC. The worst thing they did was to say that there was a genocide about to happen. And it seemed like they were trying to provoke it. They wanted to provoke something like that to create an excuse for an intervention. So, last thing I had to say about WikiLeaks content itself. And I got kind of nervous sitting here trying to get on. So, use that.
Thanks, Anne. I wanted to jump in here if I could. I just wanted to mention to everyone, Anne and I are both contributors to Black Agenda Report, and Anne does great reporting. And I hope that viewers of the Vigil take the time to read the work and view the work of all the people who have participated all these months. When you put it all together, it's tremendous information that WikiLeaks has played such a role in getting out some of the information Anne was just talking about. And I also want to thank Consortium News. I believe I thanked Joe Lauria. I should have if I didn't. And everyone who's been on, hosts of radio and TV shows, John Kiriakou, you can see on Sputnik, and with Brian Becker and Chris Hedges on RT, and Don DeBar has his own show, everybody. So I intend to binge watch. I'm not saying goodbye. I'm going to go back and binge watch many of the vigils and get to know better the work of the people who've been on, because I think collectively we've been a great resource.